Want to know how to turn your Airbnb into a 5-star money-making machine? Listen up. I've got the answers. You need to hear me. We have become Airbnb Superhosts in less than 3 months, and I'm going to tell you how to do it in less than 5 minutes. I'm going to give you the exact playbook that we followed, and I'm also going to tell you things that people on the internet aren't really talking about. If you're new around here, I'm Holly. I left my very safe, very secure, very wonderful job in the beauty industry as commercial director to build my own brands. I share all of that on this channel. No gatekeeping, just sharing everything about building brands, the truths, the realities, the ugly bits, the great bits, all of it. I share it all. So if you want that, do not forget to subscribe because you absolutely will not regret this. So if you're sitting on an Airbnb and wondering how to stand out and you've been spending months trying to become Superhost status, here you go. 5 minutes, bish bash bosh, follow these steps and you will literally become a Superhost. It is that easy. We did it in less than 3 months. We had never had an Airbnb property before. This was all super new to us and we did it. So you can too.
In a world where stability reigns supreme, one woman walked away from certainty. She traded in comfort for chaos, pay slips for pressure, and chose to bet on the only thing she truly trusted, herself. This is Holly, a fearless founder, a relentless problem solver, and a professional oversharer on a mission to tell the truth about what it really takes to create brands from scratch. No filters, no fluff, just the crazy chaos of entrepreneurship. It's the keeping up with the Kardashians of brand building, but with more spreadsheets, some glam, and hopefully fewer Kim K ugly cries. This is not just a YouTube channel. This is HVB's founder show, and the show you didn't know you needed. What are you waiting for? Let's get into it.
First things first, why even bother with Superhost status? Superhost status, once achieved, will elevate the business that you are running tenfold. It's a badge of honor. We've all done it. We've all gone on Airbnb and we've all booked properties. And that Superhost status is just a tick of approval. Within that split second of being able to see that icon on the listing, you will be amazed at how many more bookings and requests you get once you have that on the platform. Not only that, but you also show up higher in search. So it's doing your advertising for you without actually having to spend any money whatsoever. And above all, it proves that you know what you're doing. For us, hitting Superhost status literally doubled our bookings and you can't pay for it. So you have to follow these steps in order to become a Superhost. There's no shortcuts, sorry. Before you even think about achieving Superhost status, I'm gonna run through some of the key things that you need to make sure are covered before even entering into Superhost status. Perfect your listing. I cannot stress this enough. Get a photographer. Your listing is a shot window, and if you don't ensure that it's looking top notch, I'm afraid nobody's going to click on it. All you have is that one photo in all the sea of other Airbnb listings. If you don't make sure that that is stand out, no one's going to even see the rest of the photos or the rest of the property for that matter. You need to make sure you have descriptions that sell a feeling. This is so important. You are selling the dream. You are selling the experience. You aren't just selling 4 beds and a bathroom. Do you know what I mean? We didn't just write 2 beds, 1 bath, use your imagination. We wrote stunning sun-drenched property in Puglia, overlooking the beach, very close proximity to the iconic hotel, Borgo Ignazia. People book stories, so sell the dream, not the mattress. Although the mattresses are pretty comfy. This next point is crucial. Guest experience is everything. Donnie and I have really taken on board the whole guest experience. It's also the reason why we started this business. The access that you get to helping make a guest trip phenomenal is such a privilege, and we really don't take that for granted. So you have to be willing to go above and beyond for your guests. Otherwise, Superhost status is a far distant memory, but how can we do that? And I honestly do genuinely believe that this is why we smashed Superhost so quickly, because we focused on this one point so much. You may not be a hotel, but you need to operate like one. Cleanliness is the most important thing. We've all been there. We've all stayed in places where the cleanliness, there was a little bit of extra dust. Things maybe weren't exactly as you expected, and it just leaves an icky feeling. Now, this one's a little bit polarizing. We have personalised check-ins. So in Italy, it's actually illegal to have lockboxes on the side of your homes. Now, we have an amazing team on the ground in Italy who will be there to do check-in, show them around, give them advice on the area. We even had our team take a family who arrived past midnight. They got to the property, they wanted to get some stuff, and our team took them to a local store to pick up everything that they need. You are not going to get that if you're operating from a lockbox. Extras. So when you arrive, there'll be a bottle of champagne in the fridge, a handwritten note. Those little things go a long way, and you'd be surprised how many people comment on how much of a great experience that has left them feeling. And it's often something that's mentioned in the review after their trip. Your goal as an Airbnb Superhost is to remove every inch of friction for the guests. That is what it means to go the extra mile. This one next is a little bit of a hack, but I'm going to share it with you. Communication. Not only do you need to learn how to communicate in your relationships, you as an Airbnb Superhost also need to manage communication. It is one of the strongest signifiers as to why you will become a Superhost. So listen up. Airbnb literally tracks your response rate. We are being watched everywhere, and response rate is crucial to achieving Airbnb Superhost status. Do not sit on messages, and you should always be the last one to reply. Even if they've said something that doesn't really warrant a response, make sure you're responding. They're watching wherever they are. They're watching everything. Automation with communication will also save you a lot of hassle. Another trick that you can all do when it comes to delivering the best communication is ensuring that all of the messages that you send feel personal to them. So we hope you had the best pasta in Savolecci tonight. We also have created guides, and I think that is really something that guests look for, especially when you're new to the area. We have guests arriving from all over the world, so it's really important that we give them the local spots, the places that you want to go. I personally think my recommendations are pretty sensational, so they appreciate that, and it is something that they often comment on. This one is going to happen, so don't avoid it. Let's not be an avoidant Airbnb Superhost, because again, you won't become a Superhost. Handle problems like a pro. We have had guests arrive and have had some pretty insane requests. Stuff is going to go wrong. That is inevitable. You are literally managing hundreds of people at any one year, and people are interesting. They have weird quirks, and also your property will inevitably fail you at some point. That's to be expected. However, lean into it. The aircon broke for us. We had to get an engineer out to fix it. It's kind of crucial when it's midsummer and your guests are absolutely sweltering and your aircon breaks. Not ideal. However, solvable. All you care about is solutions when it comes to being an Airbnb Superhost. So 3 things that you can remember when things go wrong: reply quickly, offer a solution, and do not, under any circumstances, get in a flap. Cool, calm, collected. So we've gone through all of those things, and now you're like, Hol, why aren't you telling us what is the actual Superhost criteria? I know, I kept you guessing. Airbnb Superhost grades you every single quarter. So that means that even once you achieve Superhost status, you can't start resting on your laurels. You need to maintain this forever. And if there is a quarter where you cut things slip, you'll lose your Superhost status. So listen up. You need a 4.8 or more average rating on the property from your guests. I don't mean to brag, but we've got 5. There is a funny story with this. So we actually did have a guest who was, let's just say, particularly challenging. And he left us a review. Now, as a host, when you're leaving reviews on your guest pages, my word of advice is do not bother splitting hairs. The guests probably will leave your property in a bit of a shitty state. They might not check out on time. They might have their own agendas. At the end of the day, they're on holiday. Do not take it personally and give them a really good review. Because if for whatever reason you don't give them the best review, that will just end up falling back on you, and then they could potentially reach out to Airbnb and get a bit shitty. So quite frankly, give your guests a good review, even if we're not perfect. Let's be honest, none of us are. But this particular guest, if he was a guest in anyone else's house, I would want a warning sign coming with him. I am a very tolerant person, but this guy was impossible. So he didn't like that, obviously, when he got his review, and he had given us a 4.5. But because he was so up in arms about the review that we'd given him, he actually retracted his review in an effort to make us retract ours. We didn't, and we never heard from Airbnb. And that is also one thing that's really important to know. Airbnb support the host more than they do the guest, because at the end of the day, the business would not exist without the host. So he did us a favor because he removed his review. Since then, we have had 5-star reviews every single time. You need at least 10 stays in a year in order to be acknowledged for Airbnb Superhost status, or 100 nights in 3 stays. Less than 1% on cancellations. Now we have, touch wood, never had a cancellation. So that has obviously really helped us. I think one of the biggest factors in order to ensure that you can reduce your cancellations, don't make it too easy for your guests to cancel, but equally be really honest in your listing. Don't say that they're about to stay at the Taj Mahal when they're staying in a 2-bedroom flat on the beachside. Don't lie to them. Guests aren't stupid. And you need a 90% response rate. So your communication is key. Do not leave anyone hanging. Do not leave anyone on red. No one likes that in the modern day anyway, so just don't ignore people. Tick, 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 tick. Once you've achieved those, you will be a Superhost. And yes, of course, you need to maintain it, but set the standards from the beginning, and then you're flying. Obviously, once you've become a Superhost, it's not the end. It's only the beginning. So once you achieve Superhost status, the benefits of that are you can raise your prices, you will more likely get repeat bookings, and you can expand. Our goal with the business is to keep growing it. We would like 2 to 3 more properties by the end of this year. And with Superhost status, that makes that opportunity a hell of a lot more attractive, because once you're a Superhost, the Superhost is on you. I am the Superhost, not the property. So the Superhost status applies to you as an individual. Gosh, imagine how much you can expand once you've got that. If this video was interesting to you, which we all know it was, hit subscribe and like and comment. And if you're an Airbnb Superhost or an Airbnb host at all, I would love to hear from you in the comments. So drop the comments below, let me know what you think, and I cannot wait to hear how this works for you. See you next Sunday.